Hey everybody, I'm Ted from Tebex. Once again, I'm joined by Chris from Creator Success.
Hi there.
We want to look at another case study, and for the people that didn't see, let's start off again. Like, what do you do at Creator Success? What is your role?
So, Creator Success, they're usually responsible for making sure that the time you spend here is as enjoyable as possible, generally by making sure that your ease of entry into the service or the product is as easy as possible with onboarding, making sure that you're getting the most value, lifetime value, you probably hear a lot, out of the product, and making sure that anything that you have problems with are heard quickly and resolved as quick as possible.
Gotcha. You work directly with a FiveM script seller to improve their subscription model. What was the main issue that you identified when reviewing their pricing setup?
The creator in question had a couple of subscriptions that the price points were extremely similar options. So the two options were you could buy it as a subscription for a certain amount a month, or you could buy it lifetime. The lifetime was marginally more expensive, meaning it just didn't make sense not to buy it lifetime. And also, it was just kind of confusing, the messaging, what you got from the package, why it was more valuable. There were bells and whistles, like I think 50 different benefits when people really just want, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot during today's podcast, hero values, hero benefits, which are the main reasons why someone would subscribe to a subscription. So confusing pricing, or pricing that didn't really offer a price point that was at all interesting to a customer, and confusing messaging as to what was offered in the subscription.
Do you think this was a misunderstanding? Because as you say it now, it almost looks like they were trying to push people towards that one time. It's like, oh, sure, it's a higher price, so if we can get them to pay more for something, that's a win for us. Well, actually, if you can hook them for a longer time and keep adding value to your package and keep adding value to it so it keeps them subscribed, you can actually get way more money out of it. Was it a mispriced? Was it a misunderstanding? What do you think was the reason?
Evidently mispriced, because eventually we repriced it, and as we'll come to, seen success from it. But I think a lot of people are somewhat scared with subscriptions to offer the price point at which it makes sense for a subscription. A lot of people see it as, well, like, this is $50 and this subscription is $10. I'm going to lose $40 if they subscribe.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't seem to understand is they are more likely to stay subscribed for 6 months, meaning that you have made more money from that one customer over the period of 6 months. And also the chance of them coming back to the store, because they have this attachment via subscription to the store to buy other products. Not only are you improving revenue across the board, you're improving customer acquisition, which at the end of the day is one of the hardest things to do, as any store, e-commerce or not.
Why do you think a lot of creators are struggling with doing a proper subscription pricing? Is it something you see often?
Yep, I definitely see that often. It's very easy to set up a subscription package on Tebex, as you're probably aware of. But again, a lot of people just don't really seem to understand the value proposition, the how to do it properly, basically. It's either they've set up 16 different subscription options, which kind of defeats the purpose of making it sweet and simple. Some people price it way too high because they want to make their money back way too quick. It can be an issue of concern about how to set up a subscription package. It can be a confusion on the messaging behind the subscription package. It's an issue we see a lot, and there are a lot of easy mistakes and pitfalls to make along the way, but hopefully we can shed some light on this episode.
When setting up a package, do you think pricing is one of the more important factors, or is it also value, or like what do you think are the most important things?
So it's usually a culmination of a lot of things. Pricing is obviously going to be one of the most important factors of a package, subscription or not. Pricing is done incorrectly a lot. In terms of how to kind of get to that number easier, quicker, of what is the right number, we have quite a few tools in terms of statistics, average basket value, which is very easy to get to kind of see the spending power that your customers have. You can even see from a payment export how often a customer comes into the store, how many purchases they've had over a specific month. And then you can kind of see, okay, if people are having to buy the same package over and over and over again, why not offer a subscription that basically allows them to just get that every month, make them not feel like they have to come back to the store over and over again. This one-time purchase is creating a lot more work and burnout for a lot more stores than they possibly realize. If you have to constantly innovate, eventually people run out of ideas. We've got some creative people, but eventually they run out of ideas. So pricing to ensure that people actually subscribe in the first place, to secure that original subscription, is extremely important, as well as a multitude of other factors we can talk about.
You talked about it earlier, or you said that some creators try to recoup a little bit too quickly and price too high. Yep. What happens if the package is, or the subscription is too expensive?
Well, what do you do when a meal is too expensive? You look in the restaurant window and you see a meal
Different
that's
options.
too expensive.
Yep.
You just go.
Yep.
You just go to the next restaurant, man, right? What do you, when the pricing is too high and it doesn't make sense, they just leave. Either that, or if there is a pricing option for a lifetime package, you have this issue where you're playing this constant cat and mouse game of like, you have to release a new product every month or your customers just leave. This is a very fast-paced industry, especially the script space, where everyone in the world can use Tebex and everyone's innovating. You have a lot more competition if you don't price it fairly enough in general.
And with AI now, even the entry to anything almost is so low. If you're willing to get into the weeds and understand like the nuances of things, you can get AI almost already to create script-wise and coding-wise so many things. So what if it's too cheap? Because first easiest thing is, yes, you're losing out on money, but are there any other consequences or things that kind of weigh into making a subscription too cheap?
I think it's a bit less of a problem with digital goods because technically there was you can't really put a price on time invested, right? Unless you're like a salaried worker.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you're a store owner, evidently not. It takes a bit longer to get to the point at which you recoup your money as if it was a lifetime package. To be honest, this is selling stuff for under the actual market value of what they are is actually a pricing strategy. So it's less of an issue than if you priced it too highly. Mm-hmm. If too many people are subscribing to your package, that doesn't sound like an issue to me. That sounds like a good problem to have is, oh no, too many people are subscribing to my packages, man.
True.
One of the benefits of having a subscriber in there or having more subscribers, be it big or small, it means it creates that connection between customer and store. If you can get people on a very low subscription, it means they're more willing to come back to the store.
I don't know if this is something that we're going to discuss on later, but how do you figure out what the correct pricing is for something?
Sure. So I think I've mentioned it before, but the average payment is available to you on the Tebex Dash. I think you mentioned promotions, so like sales and stuff.
Yep.
On Tebex, the engagement tools in general, be it a sale, be it a coupon, only affects the first month in terms of discount. So you can do what a lot of other industry standard, your Netflix, your Amazon Prime, your LinkedIn Premium, if you're so inclined, they will offer a massive discount to get you in on that first month. And a lot of people do subscribe to it. And if they enjoy the benefits, man, again, if you can prove that your scripts, in this case, are of high value and you have high faith in them, that I think a lot more script sellers should have, you will definitely make your money back, or you will get the value that you expected from them from that first month, and let the script do the talking to make sure that they subscribe for the second month.
Gotcha. You mentioned that the pricing was too high, I think in this case for the creator. How much too high? Do you have like a number or percentage on?
I believe we came to the number, obviously on the MBRs, the calls we get on the monthly with, we came to the number of around 50% as too high, as in 50% greater than it should be. We kind of A/B tested, and we did, again, a promotion that we'll touch on to get us down to that number. If you're listening to this, don't start slashing all your subscriptions by 50%. There's a much easier way of getting to that number. It's never too early to start thinking about what could I do better in terms of pricing, in terms of strategy, in terms of messaging on your subscription.
Besides pricing, what are the other key elements of a successful subscription plan?
I think I've touched on that question broadly, but one of the things I do want to make an effort to touch on is something we call hero values. So a hero value is basically the biggest reasons why you would subscribe to a package in general. So a lot of industry standard subscriptions that you probably know of, especially in the games industry. So PlayStation Plus. Did you know you also get cool avatars and profiles from them? You probably didn't really care. What you probably care about is the fact that you can play online games and you get a massive games catalog with it. Those are the three that PlayStation Plus pushes and actually gets people to subscribe with. Netflix, you get a massive library of films without ads. YouTube Premium, again, YouTube is unwatchable without an ad blocker or YouTube Premium. So really the only thing it needs to push, you get YouTube Music. Why you would do that, up to you. But the reason you would subscribe to YouTube Premium is so you can watch YouTube without ads. It's super simple. These are the reasons why people subscribe to it. You should do that for your subscription.
So you helped the customer, helped refine the messaging around the subscription. Why is a good message so important? And what should store owners focus on when explaining their subscription's value?
Sure. So subscriptions are not new. They are not new to e-commerce. They're not new to any store for that matter. So making sure that your messaging stands out. And again, as I mentioned with hero values, the reasons why people would subscribe to your specific subscription is extremely important because people are very wary of subscriptions. There is a lot of stigmatism around subscriptions about, not owning your games, there not being any value, or people potentially going to make the system or the services you get from said subscription worse. So making sure that your messaging is good enough that people can throw caution to the wind and kind of make sure that it's clear that this is the value you get from it. It'll make it easier to kind of convince a buyer to actually subscribe in general.
You also ran a trial sale to boost signups. How effective was that? And do you think other store owners should consider doing the same?
So trial sales, or again, doing a really significant sale to the point at which it's like a trial, a free trial with a different subscription service. I believe things like Discord Nitro do the same thing, where you can basically get the benefits of that thing. If the hero value isn't clear, you can at least make it free to see if that hero value would actually impact you. Yeah. So again, I don't know if this service would be better in the premium version. Let me trial it. If it is, I'll subscribe for a second month. It's a very effective industry standard tool that a lot of industry standard companies, a lot of companies use in general to at least get that first month sign on. And that second month retention becomes a lot more easy with a significant trial first month discount. I would recommend it for a lot of people who are struggling for subscription signups. If you're feeling nervous about it, at least trial it in a poorer performing month year on year. I don't really see what you have to lose. I've seen some great value from it. I would at least give it a go.
The amount of times that I've been spammed with YouTube telling me that they would love to give me a few free months of YouTube Premium. After a while, you really just, okay, let's take a look at what this is about.
Give it a go.
Let's give it a look. But it works.
Better?
It works. What role do you think that community brings into this, like making a subscription more appealing? Do you think you should use social media and like your community and stuff like that to kind of make it more appealing?
Sure. So I don't think they'll ever take the place of hero values. There will always be like these really nice little supplementary, like you get a badge or a role in Discord, or you get a different colored name in game, or something like that. It's nice. It's a little supplementary thing. And it can be the thing that sweetens the deal. What that usually ends up being is something that sweetens the deal, makes the people who are already subscribed go like, oh, that's nice. I really appreciate that. I'll stay on for another month. It's a great way to build loyalty for the existing subscribers. At least it might be enough to sweeten the deal for someone who's trying to consider subscribing for the first time.
Gotcha. Talking a little bit more about long-term benefits. One of the biggest challenges for FiveM store owners is revenue fluctuations. How do subscriptions help stabilize income? And as we touched on like shortly already, like give you a better view of what's happening revenue-wise?
Sure. So especially in the case that we're talking about, it can be a bit of a cat and mouse game with having to constantly innovate month on month on month. The package or the product that you release will very much determine how well you do that month. With a subscription, you kind of can stand, or you can at least work on improving existing packages, like the things that are in the subscription without feeling like you're losing revenue. It makes the subscription a bit more lucrative. If you kind of have to rely month on month on making this new package, and if you come up with a slightly worse product or a product that doesn't fill as much of a significant gap in the market as you did in a more successful month, you will ultimately have less revenue because less people will buy it because there's not that much value in it. With a subscription, it's known as sticky revenue. People will have to subscribe to continue having the benefits of that really valuable package that they've always come to know and love. In terms of retention stats or the more consistent revenue month on month with subscriptions, there are a bunch of studies. There's blogs that I believe Pedro, Head of Success, has written before, which I'm sure you'll find in the description at some point. It's a really, really great way to basically ensure that we have sticky and consistent revenue month on month.
I think also it like lowers the, I think like the fear is maybe not the best word, but let's say you have like a subscription package with for FiveM, like for jobs or for cars or something that is like a category of something, and you're a script maker. If you have a lot of people subscribe to that package, if you release a new car that fits that bundle, even if it doesn't instantly gets a lot of sales, you can still add it as value to that subscription, and you're still making a lot of customers happy for adding more to something that they're already paying for. So it's like it helps you like make it less scary to release new things as well, because it doesn't all have to be the newest best thing. Of course you would love it if it is, but it doesn't have to.
Exactly. Subscriptions in general, regardless of where you innovate, will always compound interest, not only in terms of revenue, but in terms of existing value. Yeah. If you have a car subscription, as you said, Ted, if you can make it, instead of 50 cars, you can make it 60 cars, that's how much?
Yeah, you're going to do math.
That's at least a 12% increase in value. It's a significant percentage increase in value that you can then use to incentivize new subscribers or build brand loyalty with the existing subscribers. Yep. Overall, all of your customers, potential or otherwise, gain.
Yeah, benefit. Yeah.
Exactly.
So after Tebex helped adjusting the pricing, the seller saw a 33% increase in subscriptions in just 30 days. Why do you think it was such an immediate impact?
So again, I think I've mentioned this before, but a lot of people probably already know those subscriptions existed. It just never made sense to buy. The price point was way too high. So now they're like, oh, finally, a price point I can get a hold of. So obviously those customers are addressed, but it's also to do with a sale. This is a trial sale for 30 days. You can get a discount. It ends in 30 days. So there is a bit of FOMO. It's not going to entirely be just addressing the pricing, but obviously you're addressing the customers who are already thinking it's a discount. On top of FOMO, you're going to see a massive spike in increase in first-time follow-ups or first-time sign-ups. I believe that'll probably be it. The limited time you could get that subscription, and also it addressing a concern clearly the community had for a very long time.
As of now, 30% of this seller's monthly revenue comes from subscriptions, and is currently still growing. How does this shift towards subscriptions change the way a store operates?
So in general, you'll become a lot less reliant on creating the new package, the new bundle, the new thing that will make your store tick. It basically means that you can make a new thing. It doesn't have to be that impactful, and you can just make it a part of the subscription, and you can release it as a one-time package. And again, everyone gains from it. There is value being made, being had everywhere, as I've said before. In general, it'll just mean less burnout. You can rely on the subscription package month and month and month because it happens every month to kind of make your revenue rise across the board in general.
Gotcha. If a store owner currently relies on one-off purchases, what would be their next step to start incorporating more subscription packages?
Sure. So I'd probably take a look at what your most popular packages are. This is fairly easy to find I believe as of this video, if you just click on statistics, you can just see by package and also by category what your most popular packages are. Understanding where your economy comes from, in-game, as a server owner, as a script maker, whatever, understanding what people are there for, what people will buy, you can then begin to think, okay, what can I put in a subscription? The hero values of that subscription to basically incentivize people subscribing. Then I'd probably think about the price point, which then comes to the point of, okay, how much do people spend on average per month, and in what months? How quickly would I expect people to retain, or how quickly would I expect them to leave the game, leave the store, not come back? So try and find a nice point between hero values, the product messaging, and the price point of the package itself, and find a nice middle ground and basically make a subscription based off that.
I think we kind of concluded most of what we wanted to say. As like a final message or thing, what do you think is like the biggest takeaway to get of message we're trying to get across from or about subscriptions?
Sure. There are a lot of tools, a lot of concepts that can be quite frightening to introduce, that might seem crazy at first, but at least do the effort of at least trialing them and doing your research on them before dismissing them. If any takeaway from this, it doesn't just have to be about subscriptions. Try new things, especially if things aren't working, because what you're doing just now might be costing you in the long run.
Gotcha. Again, thank you for coming on, and I hope it's again valuable for the people that are watching. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. Do you have any final?
Sure. I'll say the thing that I usually say is don't be afraid to reach out to Success. We obviously are in the Discord, and the creator Discord, which I'm sure will be available at some link or another.
I gotcha.
And will also be available at success@tebex.io. If you have any revenue-based questions or just want to improve your store in general, we are always available, always willing, and always wanting to help in any way we can.
Nice one. Cool. Thank you for now, and we'll talk soon again.
Bye-bye.
See ya.